Ideals like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up, but we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat, and I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch Bison's ass so hard that the next Bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to go with me?
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 328. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for the Rated G network, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Rated G for Gamers. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Bertino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
Happy anniversary! Man!
Happy anniversary, Dan.
Gotta do something different. It's our 7th anniversary. 7 years.
That's right! 7 effing years.
7 effing years.
Can you believe it? Because I can't believe it. 7 years in the biz. 7 years in the biz.
It doesn't feel like 7 years, I'm not gonna lie. It feels like we did it like yesterday.
I know. When we were just spitballing ideas back and forth, and
well, let's take it a little history lesson. Let's take it even just a little bit further back.
All right. Let the fans know.
You remember the conversation of, wait, you play video games?
Yeah, we used to work together. We didn't know that we were like big gamers and all that. Yeah. And I know you fell out of it for like a little bit, but you were in it pretty hardcore, fell out, came back even stronger, started collecting, right? And then that's like, I realized like, oh shit, like you also collect, because you got me into collecting. So that's how I got on that train. Like I had some games and I kept some stuff from my youth, and like when I like PS2 era, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, I was like, I'm gonna like hold on to this stuff, and then you were like really big into it. I'm like, maybe I'll start collecting, and I started collecting.
Well, I will say, a couple of years prior to, I dug up my Super Nintendo and playing some game. A friend of mine came over. And he's no longer with us. Rest in peace. And like, well, what are you doing with all these games? And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with them. They're in the basement under the staircase, right, in the box, right. So he's like, oh, let me take some of these, because he went to GameStop and got rid of them.
He made some money off them, right?
He didn't make a lot of money, because GameStop is going to be like, here's $2, and then
right, exactly,
30, right,
exactly.
So I the one. All right, I'll tell you what my regret is after. But like he took a couple of SNES games and Sega CD games.
Well, I could tell you taking the games would be the regret, right? Or is there more?
No. There's one specific regret. So he took those and sold those. I know I've told this story a million times, over the years, how stressed at work, didn't know what to do, coming home. Didn't really have any hobbies or anything like that, and I said, you know what? Let me play some video, play my Super Nintendo, and I ended up buying back all the games that I gave him.
You bought back all the stuff from your youth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I bought games that I never got a chance to get, but I knew about.
Right.
And then there were games that then there were games that I never knew came out that I started buying, and I'm still doing that. That's like I'm still like what, 7 years, eight? No, this is before we started recording. So like 8, 9 years later, I'm
Right.
still buying games back that I never heard of.
Of course,
right?
of course. Yeah.
So my biggest regret was giving him my Super Mario World. I know Super Mario World is the best game of all time, in my opinion. Best Mario game.
I mean, it's up there.
But
yeah.
I gave him my complete cart, and he sold it.
Wait,
to
you mean
GameStop.
like in the box?
No, not in the box, but I beat
Oh,
the special
96
world.
stars, everything. Yeah.
I did everything.
Yeah.
I unlocked every, I unlocked every exit, and I beat the special world.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
By myself as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And you knew as a kid when you take that cartridge to somebody's house and they
You're like,
see
boom.
Super Mario, they see Mario's head as a shell instead of a shell.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
a sense
yeah.
of pride because
Right, everything's like, why are all the
unlocked it.
colors different? Why are all the? Oh, you don't know
Yeah.
about the special world.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that was
You
a
see
sense
the
of
little
pride.
star next to your game. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was my biggest regret. I gave that to him and he sold it.
Sure.
So I don't have my Super Mario World cartridge,
Right.
which I wish I still had.
Okay.
And I gave him Super Mario RPG.
Oh.
Where I made it pretty far as a
Right.
kid.
Right.
As a kid.
It's a tough game.
I'm-
It's a tough game.
And as a kid, I made it pretty far in the game. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say I made it halfway through the game or more than halfway because I have no idea. Till this day, I have
Right.
no idea. I still haven't beaten it. But I know one thing. I haven't made it back to where I did as a kid.
Right.
So-
Well, it's on the Nintendo Switch Online, right? So you can just
It is, but
yeah.
You
So
know-
you could
you know
play it
me-
and do the rewind and all that. You could get to where you were for sure.
I know. But you know me in like turn-based RPGs, right? I'm not a fan of that. I'm not.
It's like oil and water. You don't
Yeah,
really mix
yeah.
or blood and oil or
But-
whatever it is.
But back when I was a kid and they bought me Super Mario RPG, they don't know what my parents don't know.
Right. They just saw Mario and they go like, oh, he'll enjoy
Yeah.
this. Completely
This is the
different
new
game.
Mario game, right? And I'm like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is totally different than what I know. And for I don't know how many months this was the only game. This was the new game, so I had to make it work, right? So I wish I can go back to how far I made it to see if I can like beat it.
Sure.
But I'm probably never gonna do that. So yeah, I wish that was my biggest regret. Well,
Oh.
my two biggest regrets is I gave him my Super Mario World complete cartridge, and I gave him my Super Mario RPG cartridge, where I made it probably halfway or more than halfway.
Well, you wanna talk about gaming regrets? I'm pretty sure I talked about this on the show before. One thing in like broad strokes, when you said like you gave up all your video games to you, like you can go ahead and have these. I'm not really using them for anything. And then he goes and sells them and all that. There's a couple points. One, every time my parents would have a garage sale, I was like, all right, I got some stuff I want to sell because I wanted to like buy new games and buy whatever. So I would take the old games that I'm like, I'm not going to play this anymore, and I would sell them for, they were all like under $10 or whatever. Nothing like crazy, but I would sell all that stuff, and I'd get like the equivalent of like one new Nintendo game, like that amount of money. Then I would go and buy another Nintendo game, whatever the the new hotness was, or whatever. But it was like a 5-to-1 or a 6-to-1 difference. So it was all the games that I would get for Christmas and birthdays and whatever else, and then I would get one new game out of that. So I'm like, wow, in retrospect, that was kind of dumb, but needed new shit to play. The other thing is this was, I want to say mid to late 2000s. No, mid to late 90s, sorry. It was the height of the WWE Attitude Era, to kind of put it in context for wrestling fans. Not that it has anything to do with the story, but the people that I gave these games to, or the friends that I gave these games to, were into wrestling at the time. So that's how I kind of knew about like some of the stuff, because I kind of fell out of that world for a little bit. But some friends of mine still had a Super Nintendo that they were kicking around, and I had mine too, but I wasn't really playing it. I was more into PC stuff at the time. I didn't have a PlayStation, didn't have an N64. I was a little late to the party with all that, so I was like, oh, I'll do a nice thing and give my collection, which was maybe like 10, 11, 12 games or whatever, and I will give it to my friends or whatever. And they never really played them. I think they probably went in the garbage at some point in time. it was kind of a wasted effort. So I was a little hurt by that. I gave him some Game Boy games too, a couple of my copies of Tetris, I think, because I had like 3 copies for some reason. So that was my second. It's my second biggest.
Everybody needed 3 copies of Tetris. Come on.
I don't know how I got them, but I got them. And my final regret, and I think I've talked about this on the show before, was after I got the Super Nintendo, and I got it that Christmas, right? Christmas 91. And early 92, I remember going to KB Toys in my hometown with my mom. She was like, all right, you're doing good in school, whatever. I don't know. Some reason I got...
That was always the catalyst. To get more...
Exactly.
Than Christmas or your birthday. You're
right?
doing good in school.
I'll get you a game. I'm like, all right, awesome. I'm going to
Yeah.
continue to do good in school because that equates to video games. And I remember I loved the movie Home Alone. And I knew that because Nintendo Power had the kind of preview of Home Alone and then the review of Home Alone. And for some reason I was like, oh, this game is going to be great. It's going to be just like the movie. And I went into the store and I feel bad, even though I was the one who ended up with the bullshit game. I asked the guys, I was looking at the wall and stuff, can I see the Home Alone game? And I asked them, like, how is it? And he's like, well, I mean, it's kind of like the movie, but it's a movie tie-in. And I know he was, like, being a little, like, not enthusiastic about it. And then I for some reason, F-Zero got brought up. For some reason, I think maybe like he was like, oh, I think you may like this game better because I think he asked like what games I kind of like. And it's like you should probably try F-Zero. F-Zero is great. F-Zero, I know, is a great game. I got to play it afterwards, and I ended up with Home Alone. I bought an in-box copy of Home Alone for the Super Nintendo, Dan, and I played the shit out of that game. Let me tell you, I got to like the 4th stage, which if anybody doesn't realize, there's like multiple wings of the house. I got to like the sports and gaming wing. I was so good at it. It's ridiculous. Terrible game though. Terrible game.
Listen. A lot of games are terrible, but you made it work. You made it work.
I did. I don't know how we got into this like history of whatever, because this is supposed to be the history of Rated G, but I guess it's like we got into gaming or gaming stories, and then
the history of Rated G is the history of us. Rated G. It's just us.
This is true.
Every anniversary, we have to talk about how we got into gaming. That's it.
True. Yeah, it's true. But man, this was right around the time, if not the time, that our first episode, 2015, our first episode came out. We didn't know anything of what we were doing. We were like, hey, let's just try this and do this.
You were living in Brooklyn. You had a roommate.
I was living in Flatbush.
We recorded our first episode in your room in the heat. One fan.
Oh my God, that's right. I'm very, very anti-air conditioning.
Yes. You are. You don't know anything about air conditioning. You're like
no.
AC that blows cold air. You know about rotating warm air in the room.
Sure. Yeah, I know what a fan is. I mean, what? There's no better system of cooling than like a rotating set of fan blades.
We were in your room, and I'm holding the mic.
Yeah.
You had no idea what we were doing, and it was awesome. Fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Because we were doing it, right?
Yeah, that's
we
right.
Talked about it. We had talked about it for months, right?
That's right.
We had talked about it since like April, and then we came up with the name and concept, and it took a while.
Yep.
And then we did it late August, and it came out like that first week of September.
Yep.
So, the first episode, terrible, right?
First handful of episodes, not so great, but we ended up finding our footing for sure.
Yeah. So listen, Dave. Happy seventh anniversary.
Happy 7th anniversary, Dad. Mm-hmm. Glad to be doing the show with you.
Time flew. Didn't even know it was 7. I thought it was like 4.
I know.
All right, let's get this show on the road, back on the tracks. We have an awesome show this week. Coming up, we're going to talk everything Gamescom. This is the Gamescom episode, right? We're just going to talk about things that we saw at Gamescom. And opening that live was 3 days of Gamescom. So, before we get into any of that, let's get into the notable games coming out next month. And as always, all games and game release dates come from Game Informer's website, so don't get mad at me. Get mad at Game Informer.
That's right.
any of these things are inaccurate at the time of you listening to this.
We renounce any and all liability for any
no liability.
any errors and omissions.
Zero liability. One notable game that I'm definitely thinking about picking up is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R. It's coming out on PS5, Xbox Series X, S. I'm just gonna say the Xbox Series. That's it. You know it's coming out on.
Sure. If it
S
comes out for
and
a series, the Series X, it comes out for the S. Yeah.
Yeah. PS4, Xbox One, PC, and the Switch. No Stadia. That's what Stadia is.
Could we have
Stadia
just said everything but Stadia?
Yep. Everything but Stadia.
Every still supported platform but Stadia? Yeah.
Well, yeah. Coming out September 2nd. Now, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is sort of, like an anime, Japanese.
Oh, it sort of. It very much is a long-running anime, yeah.
It is a long-running anime. It came out, the fighting game came out cast in the PS1 back in the day.
That's right. That's right. It came out in the arcade first and then ported to...
Arcade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an expensive game. I do have it for the Dreamcast. I don't have it for the one. It's an expensive fighting game that came out. People don't... It's like hit or miss. It has mixed reviews. There was...
It's not a very balanced video game. But it does look beautiful. Yeah. The original one.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we have on the PS3, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Stars, I think All-Stars, and now we have All-Stars Battle R that's coming out in September. So I don't have the PS3 version. I do want to buy it. Do that up. I think it came out for the PS4 as well. I think they ported it to the PS4 as well. Don't quote me on that.
Right.
But I do want to pick it up on the PS3. Then we have same day, Last of Us Part 1. PS5.
The most unneeded remake. Remaster, whatever you want to call it, I don't care.
I disagree. It looks way better than the remastered in the PS4. Way better.
But the remaster still looks amazing though. And it's playable on the PS5. It's not needed.
But that just makes this game even much more impressive. It looks way better than the game that came out on the PS4 back in 2014.
It wasn't necessary though. It wasn't necessary.
I think it was necessary. They redid everything except for the voice act. I think they redid the voice act. I'm not sure.
Maybe
we did talk about it we did talk about that a couple of months ago when they originally announced it. They redid everything. It looks way better. I think, you know what?
But the graphics were never the issue. It still holds up today. That's like saying if Square Enix took Final Fantasy VII Remake and made a remake, let's just hypothetically say for some dumb reason. That game looks amazing. There's no need to redo it again.
Let me ask you a question. No, that's not true. Let me ask you a question.
It is.
No, that's not true because it just came out 2 years ago.
What? So did The Last of Us remake. It still looks good.
That was 8 years ago. So let's
and it still looks amazing, and you can play it on the PS5.
Let's say Let's say there was a Grand Theft Auto 5 PS5 and an Xbox.
There is.
That look way better.
They have made it.
Way better.
They have done that already.
That's a port.
Well, there are some small quality of life improvements for sure.
Okay, so let's say they put a complete remastered out of Grand Theft Auto 5. You would buy it. It would look way better because this game came out essentially when Grand Theft Auto 5
But honestly, GTA 5 isn't needed. A remaster of that isn't needed. A remaster of the original. I say original trilogy, but GTA 3, San Andreas, and Vice City needed a remaster or a remake, and they did it, and they totally mucked it up.
This is almost 10 years. Almost 10 years. This game came out.
No, I get it. I know. There was a lot of time, but
the remaster came out in 2014.
But it aged so well. It aged so well.
No, it looks even better now. I disagree.
But it wasn't unplayable. It was very playable. You could play it on the PS5. There was zero issue with access. Now I get why they immediately said this game, which was one of the main drivers of people buying PlayStation 3s at the end of its life cycle, and one of the main drivers as to why the PS3 outsold the Xbox 360 at the end of its life cycle. I get why they wanted to immediately put that on the PS4, because all PS3 games are incompatible unless you do work to make them, because it's the cell architecture and it's all different.
And they did it, and it was DLC. and add the DLC.
I know, and it was a complete package. I bought it almost immediately after I got my PS4, and it was an amazing experience. But I could go back to that game and still have a good time. Now, the gameplay...
You're going to have an even better time because they put quality of life improvements in 2022.
But it doesn't...
In the gameplay. In the gameplay.
If I wanted a good gameplay experience, I would play Part 2, which has better gameplay.
Now you can play Part 1 with the same gameplay. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You can play the same gameplay.
I do not care. Unnecessary. So many more games need to be remade over this game.
I disagree. I'm buying this day one. I want to have
I know you are.
Last of Us Part 2 gameplay in The Last of Us Part 1.
I don't know.
I love it.
A lot of people on the internet are echoing my sentiments. These are not wholly unique opinions, Dan.
And those same people will be the same people buying it. So there you go.
That doesn't mean anything. You can do whatever you want, but you can still say it was unneeded.
Dave,
nobody necessarily was clamoring for it. No one was saying, "Hey, Naughty Dog."
What does everybody on the internet say? Protest with your pockets, with your money, right?
Well, no, but they didn't do anything wrong. It was just like, why?
Because you want the original game with the mechanics of the modern game.
Do you want whatever the new Last of Us thing is, or do you want them to work on other stuff?
No,
you can have one or the other.
I want this.
So you don't want the new thing then? You don't, because that is obviously they have taken people off of another project to work on the remaster of this thing, which wasn't necessary.
They didn't have to have a whole team. They can make a small team.
No matter what, they've diverted developers from one project to this to make this happen, and it does look great. It looks great.
I want this. It looks.
I understand. I know you love The Last of Us. It is a great series.
Not better. Uncharted is right next to Uncharted.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, the combat. To be honest, the combat in the first one was garbage. I was not playing it for the combat. I was playing it for the story. That story was bananas good. Right? It was amazing. I wanted to hear the tale of Joel and Ellie, and I did.
About what you just said.
And I'm done.
The story was bananas, but the gameplay was trash, and now the gameplay is.
But it wasn't that bad that I wasn't able to play the game. It was
Uncharted 1
fine.
Bad. Get out of here. It was Uncharted 1 bad. Get out of here.
No, it was better than Uncharted 1. It's better than Uncharted 1.
It was Uncharted. Well, to today's standards, it was Uncharted 1.
I mean, never once that I thought, oh God, I have to slug through this. No. It was a great game, but But the gameplay was the weakest part. For sure.
I did. Okay, you know when I thought that when I was playing the remake. So, I played the remastered before I played the original. I had to buy the original.
All right. Well, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent like this, but yeah,
you did. Yes, you did.
When this game goes down to $5, then I'll buy it because I'm never going to play it again.
Never, but $10 maybe. Greatest hits version.
Ow.
Then we have September 9th. Everything but Stadia.
There we go.
Okay, right? NBA 2K20 coming out.
NBA 2K23. Okay.
I will buy this game, but I'm not gonna buy this game when it first comes out. This game will be on discount during the holiday season and the NBA season in June, so I have plenty of time to catch up. So, so it's something that I'll wait until I'll get in December. Game I will get the same day.
Wait. Aren't you the guy that always buys the NBA games every year?
I do. I wait till December.
Because you want to get that discount price. You want to get that discount price.
I never pay full price for the NBA games because they go down in price right away.
Oh yeah. All of the sports games do. It's crazy.
And the NBA season lasts until June, so I have plenty of time. So.
Oh sure. Yeah.
But the game that day, same day, September 9th, that's coming out only on the Switch that I will be getting, and that's Splatoon 3, which is great. Definitely. So.
Yeah, there's going to be an enhanced single-player mode, I think, which the first one didn't have, but 2 did, right? With the salmon run, I think, which was kind of cool. But you're not going to play the multiplayer stuff, though, right? Because that's where the core of it is, I think.
Never do, but they're highlighting.
Yeah, I mean it's
experience. I mean, the DLC for Splatoon 2 was all single-player anyway, so.
Yeah, I'm aware.
And that's why I bought it. That's why I bought it.
I mean, sure, but okay.
Coming out September 17th for Switch and PC. Return to Monkey Island, right?
Oh yeah. I think we talked about the issue with Ron Gilbert, the original creator, getting all the hate online.
Yep, we did.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a different art style. It's fine. You can not like it. That's fine.
Just leave it.
Shut your mouth. All right? You can be critical, but don't be a dick. All right? It's not that serious. It's just a video game.
There's the rated R now.
That's right. Rated R for going on a rant right now because Ron Gilbert is like video game royalty, and you treat him right. That's right.
R's in there.
That's right. I'm sorry. Look. The game is still coming out. He's gone dark on social media. I think he's still sticking to that, and I get it. Right? Nobody needs that kind of hate, stress, or whatever. Let the man do his work. The game's going to be great. Trust me.
And then September 27th, the full game, not early access, the full game, coming out just on Xbox and PC. And that is Grounded, right? Which is first party game at this point, right?
Yeah, it's not doing as great as they thought, I think.
Well, it was out in early access for like the last 2 years. 3
No,
years.
I know, but I mean, there's lots of games who have been in early access that have done great. PUBG, for most of its lifespan, was in early access, but people were like clamoring for it. You know. Yeah. It's. I mean,
it's an Obsidian game, right? I mean,
yeah.
They bought Obsidian.
Yeah.
This was like the first like game that only on Xbox and you can play early access, kind of.
Right.
I don't know the terminology for Xbox, but it wasn't fully released, right? It was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and the kids are in the backyard type thing.
Yeah.
You know,
which is a great concept.
Yeah, a lot of DLC out there. But now it's fully. I wonder if this is going to get a physical release. Now that it's now that it's actually out.
Maybe. The problem is because it's like a service game, it's immediately going to become obsolete.
I know, but
by the next day.
I know, but it would be counted.
It would be nice
to
to have
Xbox, the original Xbox Series X mainstay games, because they promoted the hell out of it.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Access.
Yeah.
Something that you should pick up. I don't know if you're gonna pick up on the Switch, coming out the same day, and that is Life is Strange Collection. That's coming out for the Switch. I think the first one and the third one are great. The second one is okay.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I mean, you know, I talked about it on the show how I went through and beat the first one. Finally, it was one of the early games that you said you need to play this game. It's really going to hit home with you, and it did. It was very good. It was very good. So much. I told some of my other friends you need to play this game, and they were into it, but they were like, it's way too stressful. I can't complete it. I'm like, I understand.
What?
It is. You got to make a lot of tough decisions in that game.
Well, you know what?
And it all factors into the ending.
I would say, listen, if you had a choice between, like, get the collection, especially on that day, play the third one before you play this. Play the second one and move out of it a little bit, right? The third one will keep you in. The third one is much more entertaining. Second, and I really wanted to like it. And lastly, coming out the same day, PS4, PS5. That's Tunic. No longer an Xbox. Coming out on PlayStation.
No longer an Xbox exclusive, right? So they had that limited window for about 6 months to a year or whatever. Now coming out on PlayStation. Still haven't played Tunic. I really gotta pop it in. I think it's on Games Pass still, right?
It is in Games Pass and it is tough. So definitely try to play that. I think there's a physical release in the works. I'm not sure. I thought I saw that. I didn't get a chance to watch that before.
I could see that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I hope so because I definitely want to buy it. If not, limited run. Okay.
Get on that.
Especially now that limited run's owned by
It's owned by Embracer Group. Yeah.
I mean, Embracer. Yeah.
Yeah, which is like
they own everything.
We okay. No. We need. I know it's not a show point note, but we need to talk about this because Embracer Group bought limited run games and the Lord of the Rings IP. So I don't know. What the hell is going on right now?
It makes sense. It makes sense for them to buy the limited run because limited run have their own engine to bring retro games to light. Want to bring a lot of retro.
I mean, sure, yeah,
that makes sense.
And Embracer
So
Group is pretty huge. You know, they've got a lot of stuff under their pockets, right? They got a lot of old IP they want to resurrect. So I get that. The Lord of the Rings thing is bananas because like there's a thing with Amazon going on right now, right? Brand new series that is just about to drop. I don't think it's dropped yet.
Just know that they own Lord of the Rings and Tomb Raider, right? That's
now
crazy.
Tomb Raider too. Yeah, there you go.
Right? That's crazy that they own this.
I am very surprised. Like the Lord of the Rings thing, like sideswiped me.
Dave, this is, maybe the gazillionth time I've actually did this.
Mm-hmm.
Since this is our 7th anniversary. But Dave, as we always try to start the show, which we did in the early days, but epically failed because we definitely did that in the early days. What have you been?
Oh, well, this will be the gazillionth and one time you ask me. And it will never not be my favorite part of the show, Dan. I love it. So, speaking about gaming in our youth and going back to old IP and playing old stuff again, I got back into the SSI old. This was not a gold box game, but it was a little bit after the D&D gold box games. I am playing the original Eye of the Beholder, which was a 3-part series made by SSI back when they were still kicking. It is a dungeon crawler, right, where you move with the arrow keys. It does have mouse support though, which is pretty good. And you build your party, rangers, paladins, mages, fighters, thieves. You get all the standard D&D classes and races. You head down into a dungeon, you fight the big boss at the bottom, and then you keep it moving. You make it out of the dungeon, and then there's a part 2 and a part 3. And I played through all of them. I love these games. I remember when I got this game too, because I was in New Jersey, and my aunt was visiting, and we were at the mall, and it was my birthday. And she's like, "Oh, you want something for your birthday? I'll get you a gift, but like keep it under $20." So I ran to Electronics Boutique and I looked at every single game, and I'm like, which one can I get that's going to be a good value for the money, that's under $20, and that looks like it's going to be a good time? And I picked out the Eye of the Beholder trilogy. They like packaged them all together. I said, I want this, and it was awesome. Love that game. So I'm playing that. I downloaded it from GOG for $10. You get the whole trilogy. It's great. They get rid of the copy protection and all that. You can just play it. It's great. And I'm also playing Dragon Quest XI. I am trying to 100% that game. I got back into it. I realized I was very close to the end. I'm in the post-game, quote-unquote post-game. I still have to beat the final boss. Because there's like a, oh, hey, you think the game is done, but it's not done. So they open up a whole other bunch of stuff. And there's a hell of a ton of more stuff to do. I have clocked in almost 160 hours in that game. Let that sink in.
That's a lot of hours.
160 hours. That is 4 consecutive weeks of gameplay in Dragon Quest XI. I think I've got my money's worth.
Is it the same Eye of the Beholder that came out on the SNES? It was called AD&D, Eye of the Beholder.
Yes. They ported the first one, and that was the first and last of the series that they ported to Super Nintendo. So you can get it.
And Sega CD.
They did do a Sega CD version, which funny enough, Yuzo Koshiro, the famous Sega composer, did enhance CD music for the Sega CD version. I haven't played that one. I played the Super Nintendo one a little bit, but it was really the
Nintendo one
PC.
comparable to.
Besides some minor graphic and palette changes, it's the same game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't get a mouse and keyboard though. I don't think it has keyboard. So I don't think it has mouse support.
No, doesn't. So, I will say, just a little again, since it's the anniversary show, dive a little deep behind. When we were coming up with the show, we didn't know what segments we would have or anything. We didn't know what the show would be. We were just talking, right? And one of the things that we said was, hey, we would always try to start the show with games that we've been playing, but we would always go on a tangent, or we were always talking about something else.
Yeah, comics, movies, whatever's going on, this or that.
And then it'd be like, okay, well, let's start the show.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you playing?
Yeah.
So that's how the segment came into, as we always try to start the show, but epically fail. Because we would always be an out. We would go 30 minutes. I think one time we went 45 minutes talking about something totally different.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, all right, well, let's start the show now, even though it's an hour in with games we've been playing. So that's how that turned into, as we always try to start the show, but epic. So a little inside baseball. The games I've been playing, if you listen to Saturday Morning Retro, right, I picked up for Switch Metal Max Xeno Reborn, the Japanese.
Metal Max Xeno Reborn. I still have not heard of this game, even though you've talked about it for a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know what? It got reborn on the Switch. I played it. I have it on the Switch. It's definitely, I thought it was an action, but it was more of a turn-based RPG, right? In a tank, right? And even in the tank battles, you're like, oh, it's an RPG. I've played about an hour of it, and I think I'm okay. Because, again, bland. It's bland, design. You're in a desert and all that stuff, so it's not, the enemies aren't interesting. And it's turn-based. So, that's not something that I'm really into, right? Unless you got Mario involved in that. Not really into turn-based games. So, I think I could put this one to rest, but it could be, if you're into turn-based RPG, it's not to say that it's a total RPG, you could look at this as maybe a hidden gem, because it does have a story element to it, which is okay, but, the battle part is not something that I'm interested in.
Is it budget price?
Oh, definitely. $35-$40.
Okay. It's a budget price. Somewhat budget.
And I've also been playing Saints Row. I bought it for the Xbox Series X.
You got the remake.
I do got the remake. I can see why hardcore players think it's boring, but I think it's okay for me. I mean, I like the driving. The shooting sucks. I'm not gonna lie. There's no Call of Duty. It's not like you can hide behind.
No, but it's got to be serviceable. It's got to be as good as Grand Theft Auto is.
It's definitely not a cover shooter. You definitely are jumping and moving out of the way, running away from a lot of things. So, but it's funny. The humor is funny. It's not meant to be taken seriously, and I like the character. I like to create a character. I actually, when I create characters, I don't put people, I know a lot of people. I have a friend who creates totally unrealistic. If you can make yourself a woman in a character, he'll be a woman.
Yeah. He'll put the sliders up to max and do all the wacky stuff.
I will put me, Cock Diesel.
Oh yeah, of course. You want to put the vision that you think you look like in the mirror.
I put me in the game. Okay, so I like to create a character, because I could put me. You talk about. Yeah, we talk about wrestling, right? I was Hulk Hogan.
I'm not gonna ask you where the gym is, Dan, so you can flex your muscles. I'm sorry.
I put me.
All right.
So I like to create a character. I don't like the voice acting. That's the one issue with a lot of creative characters. They give you 50 options to make your body and everything, and complexion and everything, but they give you 5 options for your voice.
And they're all just pitch shifted anyway, so it's really.
I sound like Mike Tyson. It's terrible.
It's really just man and woman, and then different pitch shifted options. Yeah, it's tough.
Terrible.
It's tough. Listen, once we get AI on the appropriate technical level, then anything is possible. Yeah.
All right. So on that note, why don't we take a break? When we come back, we'll get into all the top gaming news at Gamescom. And we're back. All right, Dave. Let's jump into Gamescom. So, I mean, this is like the second E3, right? Like, this is like the biggest every year. Well, except for last year, but the last 2 years. But Gamescom is like the biggest PAX in the world, right? Essentially, right? It's like PAX and E3 come together and made a baby, and it's like Gamescom. Where,
Well,
we get
E3
gaming announcements, and it's for the public, right?
Yeah,
in
that's
Cologne,
that's what
Germany.
E3 is now, or was before like the pandemic hit. It's just a European version of that, I guess. But yeah, I see where you're going with it. Yeah.
So we're not going to go into every single game announced at Gamescom. Gamescom's like 3-4 days, and Opening Night Live. We're taking a lot of stuff from Opening Night Live with Jeff Keighley.
Well, that's where a lot of the big stuff came out. Yeah.
A lot of the big stuff, but we're sprinkling in some things that came in a little afterwards. Can't get into everything, but we're going to get into the most notable things from games. Okay? So let's start with everywhere. No, I mean that seriously. That's the name of the game. Everywhere. From ex-Rockstar developer.
Yeah.
They're making a new open world game called Everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're
very ambitious. It's very ambitious.
And they're doing everything because the little clip that we got had a little bit of everything. And I couldn't really you can't really nail down what this game is. Mm-hmm. But I know it's Everywhere. That's the name of the game.
It looks very futuristic. Like think of like a near future Grand Theft Auto on like a different planet, but like that kind of vibe where you could kind of just go where you want and do what you want.
A different planet.
Well, it certainly wasn't Now Times. Maybe it was on Earth, but I mean it looked different enough that it could have been a different planet. I don't know.
Grand Theft Auto in space, Fast and Furious in space.
I mean, everything goes to space eventually, Dan.
Everything goes to space.
Yeah, I mean, I really need to see some gameplay. I need to see some developer talks on it. I know a lot of people are kind of throwing some shade. They're like, because the tagline or whatever it is like you can go anywhere and do anything and whatever, and it's like, oh, this again, right? Because every open world game is like you can do anything in the open world game, and I get it, but I'm gonna reserve judgment till I see some gameplay and like, oh, well, here's how the game actually runs. Here's what you can actually do in the game. Because it's always like, you can do a lot of things, but you can't necessarily do everything. Regardless of if you call your game everything.
Well, we don't know what this game is about, to be honest.
Yeah.
Again, the little snippet, so it looked a little bit of shooting, it looked like it's open world in the forest, but we don't know anything about this game other than the fact that it's everywhere, everything, and you
all
do
at once.
All at once.
Yeah.
Something that I was semi-excited for until the end was Dune. There's going to be a Dune game. It's called Dune Awakening. Got a new trailer, right? And you get the, Dune is set in the desert, right? And you got the big sandworm that comes out, and the guy comes out and he jumps into the sandworm. Don't know what he's doing, right? But it's an open world survival MMO. And as soon as I heard MMO, I was like, I'm out. That's, not my jam, not something that I'm really into, but I hope people are excited about this. I know we had the Dune movie with Aquaman, like 2 years ago, and I know that was just like part one. And
Jason Momoa, he's got a name.
Yeah.
I like how you're referencing him by his DC hero name.
Come on, nobody that listens to this show knows his name is Jason Momoa. They know his Aquaman.
I forgot he was in that. He was freaking Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. That's where his big break was.
Yeah. Well, he was Conan. He was the
he was the Conan reboot. That's right. But that was after Game of Thrones.
No.
Yes.
Conan came out in 2011 or 2012.
Did it?
Yeah.
Game of Thrones was already out.
Was it? Okay. All right.
Conan. Game of Thrones is like 2010, 2011.
All right. Well, Conan came out like in 2012. 2011, 2012.
Conan the Barbarian, 2011. Yeah.
There you go. I knew it came out in 2011.
Regardless, the Dune remake.
I remember I went on a date. I went on a date with this girl, and we went to go see Conan. She was like, "This is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life," and I never forgot that date. That's how I know. It was like 2011, 2012 around that time.
Wow, actually, Conan and Game of Thrones debuted in the same year.
Well, there you go.
And
I
believe Khal Drogo was in season 1. I believe Jason Momoa was in season 1. King of the whoever's, I forget what their race was. I don't know. It's a lot of lore in that show. But I want to go back. You said you were with it till the end. The end of the trailer?
Yes, when they said it was a survival MMO, I was like, that's not something.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was a little weird. I thought the days of MMOs were over, right? Because that was like, I mean, it's funny enough, they did make a Conan MMO in the mid 2000s. They were trying to ride on that Age of Hyboria, I think was the subtitle of that. It didn't last very long. I don't know if it was good or not. It doesn't matter. It's not around anymore. But they did make a Conan MMO. I thought people were off MMOs and they were on to games as a service, like the live service games or whatever, right? But
that's true.
I mean, I don't know. I guess like, could you consider Jesus, what's the game? The Division. Is that an MMO? I don't think so. I think it's like a looter shooter.
I would say it's a looter shooter, but I mean, Conan, we don't really know anything about. We just know it's going to be a survival MMO.
Dune,
but
yeah,
Dune. Sorry,
yeah,
it was just cinematic trailer to get you hyped for the sandworms, right? So we don't know any gameplay. We don't know anything about that. So
I'm with you. I'm a little bit skeptical because I'm certainly over the pay per month for MMO service, whatever, all that stuff. The hardcore grind. It's too much. So
too much.
Yeah.
And then we got new hardware. PlayStation finally revealed. Well, Sony finally revealed sort of their updated controller. Sony revealed the DualSense Edge for the PS5. Right. Very customizable controller with back paddles and everything.
This is their version of the Xbox Elite controller.
It is the Elite controller. We don't know what the price is, right? Because the price, they didn't say anything about price, but the Elite controller Series 2 is like $179. So I would start there and work your way up. So it could be $179 to $200. So Sony in pricing. If it's
sub 200, I would almost be surprised, but it's going to be, you're right. I think it's going to be around that point. Because it's like, it's an enhanced version of the regular controller. It does, like, the back pedal. The back paddles are great for first-person shooters with the...
it has front paddles at the bottom, too. It looks like they had front paddles at the bottom, too.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
But with stick drift, if you can just replace the stick, right? Like, that would be something that people...
It does have swappable sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the entire mechanism, but it is like it is the part that probably would go defective. So yeah.
So speaking of Sony and hardware prices, this didn't happen at Gamescom, but it did happen during Gamescom. The PS5, unprecedented. This is unprecedented. This has never happened before. I don't think it's ever happened. It could have. So
I think it's the first time in gaming history. Yeah.
You definitely could correct us and add us at Twitter if
add us at Rated G on Twitter. Yeah.
There you go. PS5 got a price increase everywhere except the U.S.
Right.
The US, the price isn't going to increase, but Japan is going to increase. Canada, in other territories, is going to go up 5 to 10%. So it's not like a drastic increase, but an increase nonetheless.
That's like $50 at least. I mean,
yeah, between $20 to $50 depending on where you are.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
And this isn't
for a system that's already $500.
Hard to get.
Well, that too, hard to get, and also $500. It ain't cheap.
Just to give context to this, analysts aren't surprised because Sony, as a company, has increased their prices on other hardware like cameras, camcorders, and TV. So they've upped the price because it's just the chip shortage is affecting everybody, right? Notably, if you listen to the last couple episodes, I want to buy a new car. I want a new car, and if you buy a new car, it's going to cost you another $4,000 to $5,000 extra, whatever the sticker price is.
There is a premium right now because it's hard to all the electronics and the whatever to build these cars. They can't get them, so they're like, we'll just increase the price of our current stock because that's just how it is.
So and Sony has increased their prices 5 to 10% on other products. So it was surprising when Facebook or Meta. I'm still having a hard time calling
Meta.
it Facebook.
Meta's the parent company. Facebook is the product now.
Increased the price of the Oculus 2, right?
Yep.
And people started asking Sony, would you increase the price? Because they did increase the price on other products. That was the reason why they did. They asked that. Analysts were asking.
Oh, yeah, sure. And they tried to be coy with it until they were ready to say officially that.
Yeah. They said right now we have no price increase to announce.
Yeah, right.
And they were
at
correct.
this moment.
At the moment. Yeah.
No, basically no comment. Basically no comment. Yeah, maybe it's a sign of things to come. I don't necessarily want to say. I know Sony has had some issues over the last couple of years and whatnot. I know PlayStation is their biggest market, their video games department or whatever it is, product line or whatever is their most successful.
PlayStation is the biggest thing that they have.
Yeah, exactly. I still love their TVs. They still make some.
I am a
products.
Sony TV person. I'm a Sony TV.
Oh, you love
person.
Sony. I know.
1,000%.
I know.
Yeah. I love their TVs more than Samsung. Samsung is okay.
But it's interesting. Nobody else like Samsung or LG or Panasonic, any of the other big players, aren't also doing this, right? Because you look at the car industry. Well, it's true, but you look at the car industry. Basically, the car industry as a whole was like, no, you're over a barrel. We're going to increase prices. We're going to make more money off this, right? Because cars are in short supply and whatever else. Not one car manufacturer hasn't increased their prices. I mean, there may be some really small companies. Maybe they didn't necessarily do that. But everybody, Ford, GM, Toyota, and Nissan, everybody. You want to get a car now? You're effed. So maybe it is a sign of the times. Maybe Sony is taking the first steps. They're the ones that are going to be out front, taking the slings and the arrows and being like, no, this needs to happen. It's going to happen across the industry. We're just kind of getting ahead of it. So maybe that's the case. I hope that's not the case. I would like electronics to be cheap.
I will say this in an article from Bloomberg last month. They said Samsung could increase the prices of their products by 10% by the end of the fiscal year.
Right.
So
right.
It's something that Sony has done already. That could be followed suit by other companies if the supply chain doesn't change.
Which means if Samsung's going to do it, then LG is going to do it as well, because that means that okay, your profit margin isn't that great. You can't produce as many units. This is something that you have to do in that case. So maybe that's it. I don't know. But yeah, right, first time a game console was ever increased in price. I mean, that's
went up in price, but usually they go down in price because they want to sell more units. But
they always,
every unit that goes out has already been sold because you can't find them anywhere.
Exactly.
Right now.
Exactly.
But as of this recording, I will say this though. As of this recording, if you go to PlayStation Direct and you log in, you can buy a Horizon Zero Dawn PS5 disc system bundle. Okay.
Wow.
They still have
right.
them. They still have them. That's the only system they have.
That's fine. Horizon's
now.
a AAA game. It's not necessarily for me, but it's a AAA game. I wouldn't, your average gamer wouldn't mind having that to play with the system. So
yeah. All right, let's get back to video game.
Mm-hmm.
We did see, Open Night Live. We did see another extended gameplay of Callisto Protocol, right? And it's in the vein of I almost called it BioShock again. I don't know why I keep calling it BioShock. Dead Space. It's in the vein of Dead Space because it's the same.
It is Dead Space. It is the spiritual successor. He's got the little readout on the back of the helmet. It's a space horror survival game. Yeah, back of his neck. Yeah.
It looks like he's a prisoner in like some galactic prison, right? And he's trying to get out, and it's like overrun. It looks like Doom meets Dead Space, right? Mm-hmm. Essentially. Mm-hmm. But I will say, it looks like you have force powers. Did you see the gameplay where he's controlling things, bringing them to him, and pushing it away, right? And he
sure.
Bring an enemy to him, and then push it away into like a machine to get destroyed. Like that looked cool. Like I was in if I got force powers. If this is Jedi Fallen Order, okay, meets Doom, I'm in. even though it's kind of creepy and scary, I'm in. I will do it.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some sort of machine that'll augment your body to have that for sure. And it does look great. I know that EA doesn't have any plans to necessarily.
Well, other than a remake. Other than a remake,
there is that remake, yeah, which is weird, right? Because now we have this new game, then we have the remake, but they haven't said anything about like putting out a new Dead Space. There is no Dead Space 4 because 3 was like kind of not great. Kind of
there
went
were
off the
4
rails.
Dead Space, right? Because there was like a side Dead Space that came out for the Wii, right? There was a Wii. Wii game that came out.
It was a little bit different. I don't know if it was a wholly different adventure, but they're still considered 1, 2, and 3. I think it was like a Wii version of it, with like motion control and whatever else. But yeah, I mean that was like all of that was last century. They haven't done anything with Dead Space except for this kind of new remake that's coming out, which also looks great. It's different. It's graphically different a little bit for the better. I
Dead
think.
Space Extraction. It was like Extraction.
Yeah, but that was like kind of yeah, not quite a mainline, but in that definitely in that universe.
In the vein, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I am hype. I love I love Dead Space 1 and 2. They were amazing games.
The first time I played Dead Space was on my iPad.
Not the best experience, but all right.
I had no idea what the game this was, and I played it on my iPad. So I wasn't in the gaming when it came out, so I didn't know it. It totally missed me. But it is spooky, so I'm not spooky.
Oh no, 100%. Yeah.
It's Resident Evil in the spaceship, so that.
Well, you haven't even
really
seen. There's a spot in part 2 where you have to. For some reason, you have to do this. I forget why, but you have to utilize a machine. And you have to control it while you're in it, if that makes sense. So you're laying down on this machine, and you have to control a needle to inject something into your eye, into the middle of your eye.
No, I've seen that.
Right? You get like, I think it's like a split view of like the top down and then like where the eye is, and you have to get it right in the middle.
You have to poke it in your own eye, yes.
Oh, and if you miss, I missed like several times. Oh, God. Yeah. Woo. Talk about top 10 tense gaming moments in video game history. That is on the list.
So, all right.
Sorry.
Something strange. Moving on. Something strange. We have a new Lords of the Fallen game. Right. It was called Lords of the Fallen 2, but they dropped it to, and it's called The Lords of the Fallen.
Right. Which,
So
way to not make it confusing.
I do own this game. I think I have it, the original game on the PS4. I think I got it in a bargain bin for like $10 at GameStop. It does feel like a Dark Soulsy type of game, right? But something that I'm not into. But I thought it was interesting that they dropped the 2, which they didn't give any reason for. They just call it The Lords of the Fallen. So I don't know.
Well,
why they would do that. I mean,
guess they're
it's
branding
just
it.
Confusion.
I guess they're branding it as a reboot, so they didn't necessarily want to put the 2 at the end of it.
So
I don't know.
If they make another game, will it be 3 or would it be 2?
I do not know.
So there you go. These are the questions we don't know. These are the world.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that.
Does a tree make a sound if it falls in a forest and nobody's here to hear it?
Oh well, that's
or if they make another Lords of the Fallen game, will it be called 3 or will it be called 2? We don't know. These are questions we can't answer.
It's funny you mentioned. I was just watching a Scott the Woz video on YouTube about this exact thing, about how branding and naming inconsistent across the board.
Yes,
and it's so unnerving.
Real quick, they did mention that we're getting Moving Out 2. That was announced. That's coming out in 2023. I like the Moving Out, the original game. I definitely have it on the Switch. I played it at PAX.
We did, yeah. We played it at PAX.
We did. We all did, yeah. And I thought it was good. Well, it's on Games Pass, funny enough.
Right.
And, I play it every now and then on Pass. It's definitely a game, in that Cooking Mama, vein, right?
Overcooked, you mean?
Overcooked, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just purchased Cookie Mama. I used my Lookie points to get that.
Oh,
But,
okay.
yeah.
Woogie Mama
Overcooked.
classic. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I love it. I can do multiplayer. I know a lot of people are like, they get super stressed out if you're not like on your shit and in your station and doing the thing. I don't mind it. I'm like water off the back of a duck. It's fine.
I've never heard the expression "water off the back of a duck."
Yeah, because it just slides right off. It doesn't stick.
Does water? I just want to get a duck and just throw water on it and see if it just goes right off.
Well, there you go. There you go. Next episode, Dan, I'm gonna get you a duck.
I need to buy. You gotta buy me a duck. Okay,
I'll buy you a duck. Yeah.
All right. So this game was delayed, and they announced the delay prior to Gamescom because they knew they were going to have extended gameplay trailer, new story trailer. But Hogwarts Legacy was delayed until next year. It's supposed to come out this year, and they delayed it until February 10th, 2023. Definitely looking forward to this. Sony, is a special edition like this. Sony has the marketing for this game. Definitely not going to get the special edition though, even though it looks cool. I love Harry Potter. I love my British. I love the whole Harry Potter, James Bond. Save the Queen.
You dressed up as Harry Potter one year, and you don't do Halloween, and you managed to dress up as Harry Potter, which kudos to you. That was a great costume.
Yeah, I definitely don't dress up. I did everything except for the sideways Z on the forehead.
Oh yeah.
The
little lightning bolt.
That I wasn't doing.
The lightning bolt.
I was Harold Potter from Brooklyn. That's what I was.
There you go, Harold from the Hood. I am. Well, hold on. I'm definitely now with you, right? I'm also a Harry Potter fan. Say what you want about J.K. Rowling or whatever. She made a great series. It's got some good lore in there. This is the game that everybody wants. This was the game that everybody wanted when they did the Chamber of Secrets video games for the PS1 and the PS2. And it was like, yeah, this is what you get for a video game tie-in, movie tie-in with the technology of the age. You get a dumb platformer with bad graphics. Everybody wants to be a Hogwarts student, and you can do that here. It's very good.
I just want to know how they're gonna, when they put the hat on you, how are they gonna choose what school you get into?
The Sorting
what
Hat
class you are. Yeah. I want to know how that's gonna work.
I bet there's going to be something in the character creator where they ask you like certain questions.
Certain questions, yeah.
And then those kind of answers will determine like percentages of what house you fall into. Because I feel like that's how they'll do it. But
all right, so I was hyped about this on Opening Night Live. Super hyped. We're getting a new and another. We're not going to get to two, but we're getting another Tales from the Borderlands game, and it's called New Tales from the Borderlands instead of Tales from Borderlands 2. But I can understand this part. I can understand because it's TT Games, as I call it, Telltale Games, isn't involved. It's being published by 2K, developed by Gearbox. So Telltale is not involved in this.
Telltale came back too, and they're like, "Look, we're back. We got a new engine. We're going to do this." And then they're like, "No, we're not going to have you involved."
This would make sense why they're not using any of the same characters from the original game. Maybe there's something with, Telltale where they own those characters, right? Or something along those lines. So they brand new characters, and it's coming out in October 21st. So we got a new game announcement, and it's coming out soon. So I'm definitely getting this. October is shaping up. We got Gotham Knights, and we got this with Call of Duty. October is shaping up to be a big month, at least for me.
Yep.
So we did get Dying Light 2, the expansion, Bloody Ties. That's coming out October 13th. Right?
It's good stuff.
We got extended gameplay of AEW Fight Forever, and this is, we got really gameplay. We got a trailer before and a trailer of gameplay, but now we got gameplay and people got hands-on. They say it's slightly glitchy, right? I'm sure they can work those things out, but it's more in the vein of the N64 games.
Oh yeah. It's and that's really great to hear. It's like the Aki old school style. I am 100% about this. I see what they're saying. Some of the animations looked a little wonky. Some of the graphics could use a little bit of polish. But to be fair, and granted it's Yuke's behind it, but it is their first AEW franchise game, which we're going to assume they'll make a 2023 or 2024 or whatever it is.
Well, we don't know. Well, it's not a complete sim. It definitely has some arcadey elements to it.
Right.
Right. So I don't know if they will make this an annual thing or like every 2-3 years. But I'm in. I love the N64 games. WrestleMania 2000 is one of the best games to me of all time. I love it over No Mercy. I didn't play No Mercy when it first came out. I did play it recently.
All right.
Well, in recent years. But WrestleMania 2000 still does it for me. And I played the crap out of NWO over WCW, right?
Yep.
N64. So I think if this is in the vein of N64, right, modern time. Right now for 2022, I'm all in, and I can't wait for it. We don't have a release date, but hopefully it gets released. I think this is going to be a 2023 game. To be honest, I don't think it's going to be released this year because they would have said it. They would have talked about it already. I mean, we're in late August, September.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, there's no rush on it, right? You want a good first impression because if you come out with a bad game, that's it. They're going to get another developer and do a whole new thing, start from scratch again. And keep it
their version of WrestleMania is happening next week. Like the WrestleMania is in September for AEW, right? Like Double or Nothing. Like that's their WrestleMania. So if we don't get an announced date by then this is 2023. Totally. And we got Goat Simulator 3. We got gameplay of this.
The classic, the classic. Listen, they had all the simulators out. They were making tons of them. You got to get to go.
It's coming out November 17th. But Jeff Keighley was so happy. He was so like, "Hey, we got Goat Simulator 3." Like, dude, he was so happy.
The first one is bananas.
I know.
And everything that was an issue with that game, they're like, "No, we're leaving it because it's amazing." So the like weird, buggy, glitchy stuff, people loved about it. It's like, oh,
I just don't know what's up with animals. Like, people love, Untitled Goose Game, Goat Simulator, Octo Dad. I mean, what's next? Crazy Chicken.
Crazy Chicken.
I just don't know.
Oh, you got to play. I think it's called Animal Race on the PC. Oh, it's terrible.
Never heard of that.
It's terrible. Yeah, it's like a Noah's Ark racing simulator game. It's terrible.
We got a trailer for Sonic Frontiers, and it's officially confirmed for November 8th. So it's coming out at the same time as Skull and Bones, I think. So people are gonna have a tough decision that day. Do you buy Skull and Bones or do you buy Sonic Frontiers?
No, I will tell you right now, I am not in on Skull and Bones after that extended gameplay trailer, in-depth look on it. I'm out on that. I may be in on Sonic Frontiers. I'll be honest.
Well, you know what? You know what they need to do? They need to make Skull and Bones pass. That's what they need.
Well, I mean, if it's on Games Pass, I'll give it a try for sure. Which they certainly could. It would be in their interest, maybe. I mean, but I don't know. Sonic Frontiers could be awesome. They're obviously trying to do Breath of the Wild with Sonic. Hopefully, it lives up to. I was going for the Mario Odyssey.
Well,
same kind of, kind of like open world.
Open world. This is what Sonic should have been after Sonic Adventure 2, right? Like this is the direction they should have did instead of him, kissing a girl and turning into a beast with a sword and all that stuff.
Yeah, there were some dark times for Sonic in the mid 2000s. Oof.
Quantic Dreams is back, right? In definitely in connection with Parallel Studios, and they're making Under the Wave,
right?
Which we didn't get really any gameplay, but it is notable that it's also coming out for Xbox because Quantic Dreams usually only puts out for PlayStation. Since they got purchased by another company, I can't think of the name off the top of my head. They did say that they wanted to go multi-platform with their games from now on. So this game is slated for 2023 release. Sure. The first Quantic Dream game to come out on Xbox, I think.
Yeah, same studio that did Heavy Rain, that did Detroit Become Human, among other things. So it's going to be very narrative-based, choose your own adventure most likely, but under the water. So
under the water.
It looked pretty. It looked pretty.
The trailer looked pretty, but I don't know.
We'll see
about the game.
I think it'll look good. They always look pretty good.
High on Life had a new trailer, right? I know people were saying they were a little critical of this game. I know, sort of the dialogue. They said, hey, the dialogue can't really save the gameplay of this. But I thought the dialogue was cool. I mean, Rick and Morty,
right. It's from Justin Roiland, yeah.
I thought the gameplay was cool. they had, sort of like a big boss battle they showed, and you really have to jump around, move around to get around, to beat the boss, which they showed, which I hate, which we'll talk about in a few minutes about showing too much in video games. But I thought this was cool. I was in. This got me in, actually.
Okay.
I was like, you know what? This is something that I could try. I would want to try out and get into. It was shown. I think Xbox has the marketing on this, because I think it's at Xbox at E3, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but I was all in. I was all in on High on Life. I know it got delayed, but I'm all in when this actually does come out.
Well, it looks real pretty. It definitely looks like AAA visuals, so it's got that going for it. And I guess like the real big hook is that your gun talks to you, right? Your gun is sentient.
Yes.
So your gun is like quipping out stuff left and right, and that's where
it gives me Power Rangers vibe when the White Ranger had Saba. He had Saba. He had the talking tiger staff on his hip.
You're making references that are like up here. They just
that's because you were like 30 when Power Rangers came out. Okay,
dude, I was over it. I was over it by then.
I was 12. I was 12 when Power Rangers came out. Okay, I was 12. All right. Tommy had Saba when he turned into White Ranger. He had Saba, and it was a talking tiger that was connected to a sword. So he had a staff.
I don't remember I kind of remember the toy. Yeah, that kind of talked to you, but okay.
Okay. All right. I had Saba. All right. Saba. Then they showed Atlas Fallen. Okay. That's coming out in 2023. It looks like a cross between Forspoken and Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
All right. Forspoken, like you're in a desert and you're flying around, and then you got like Monster Hunter because you're facing these big monsters. I don't know much about this game. It looks okay. I'm kind of into it. I need to see more. I need to see, what the gameplay is like, what the story arc is. I tell you, I'm really looking forward to Forspoken, even though it's been delayed. But
right.
This game piqued my interest just from this. Again, I didn't know what it was, and I thought it was Forspoken for a second, and then it turned out not to be.
No.
Yeah, for a second I thought
got a female lead.
For a second I thought it was. For a second I thought it was Forspoken.
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit. It's kind of got that kind of sandy environment, right? Because you get warped from modern day New York into this weird fantasy realm. So yeah, it does have a little bit, but it's got a female protagonist. Completely different.
I know. I listen.
Aesthetically, it looks a little like that.
It looks a little like Forspoken, and they had a female protagonist doing a lot of the combat there, and then they had a male guy, and they had a male protagonist. So it was like they were like tag teaming, and I thought they were going to go against each other, but apparently they were on the same page.
Right.
Then you got Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which again,
surprise of the show. Who would have thought that a cult classic from the 80s would get its own video game?
I'm that old that I know Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I mean, apparently at the time, mid 90s, or this came out in the 80s, but like early 90s, I think like clown, they had like clown schools were suing because they were because
of the negative press behind it. Yeah.
Between the serial killer that dressed up as a clown.
Oh, John Wayne Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy. And Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah.
They were suing because nobody wanted to be a clown anymore.
No. Funny enough, bad mark.
Funny enough, to bring it back, Power Rangers became like the number one thing kids wanted. People wanted. They wanted people dressed up as Power Rangers instead of clowns at the party.
Oh yeah.
Because I know my cousin had the Red Ranger dressed up at her party, and
yeah. So, she got Jason.
I remember that.
She got Jason to appear. Hot damn.
Yeah. So, we're not gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about Jason.
Oh, I know. Trust me. I know. I know about that.
Jason, Zach, and Trini still hurts my heart that they left. Okay, because I hate it. I hated Rocky. I'm sorry. Oh. Rocky sucked. All right, I was on the Rocky.
Some drama going on here. Some drama going on.
All right, let's get to Gotham Knights. We got an extended gameplay of Gotham Knights. It's coming out a little bit earlier than expected. Now it's coming out October 21st. But I think, and this is just me, I think they show too much in game. right? Like they just show too much. They show too much. They show too much. We got a boss battle. They showed a boss battle with Harley Quinn. Like really, we know we're getting Harley Quinn and Clayface as boss battles.
Is that surprising? They're villains in that universe.
Let me experience it. I'm already sold. This game, all you need to do is show me the gameplay of the 4 playable characters. That's all I really needed.
That's what this is, a boss battle with the 4 playable characters. Okay. So what was different about High on Life? Because that was a boss battle. You swinging around fighting a boss.
Well, there we go. That was an issue. Don't do that. Don't show me that. Show me the beginning.
Well, but that got you hyped for High on Life. You're like, I'm about this now. And then when it comes to Gotham Knights, look,
I was super hyped, but I was buying it anyway. I was hyped anyway. Well, what if I would have showed you the battle between Mario and Bowser in Super Mario Brothers 3? What if
but that's the end of the game. You wouldn't do that, and this is not the end of the game. We
don't know where this is, but yeah,
I will bet you $1 million. This is one of the first 3 boss battles. They never show late game boss battles because there's no reason to. You want to see what the mechanics are.
I can't wait to play this. I can't wait to.
They would never do that. They would never do that. Right?
It'd be the 5th boss battle, and you owe me $1 million.
I get the point about don't show
showing too much. Showing too much. Some of this stuff should be a surprise.
But coming off the heels of the previous presentation that they did when they were riding on the bikes and all that, and everyone was like panning it. They're like, I don't know about this. I thought it was great. Well, the internet says differently, right?
Well, the internet, you can never make the internet. You can never make the internet happy. You can never make the internet.
Well,
happy. I thought it was great.
I'm just telling you what the sentiment is. So it doesn't surprise me that we're gonna get some more info. We're gonna see some more in-depth gameplay. And the boss battle looked great. I was like, okay, cool. And now I'm a little more excited for it because I was on the fence seeing the previous footage. So
you shouldn't have been on the fence. Seeing the play, it's Batman. Okay.
Well, it's not Batman. It's everybody but Batman. It's everybody but Batman. Batman's dead, Dan. Spoilers.
There you go. Well, spoilers. Here's some spoilers for you. I don't think Batman's dead. I think he faked his death. At the end of the game, when you beat this game, Bruce Wayne is still alive.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, that's another thing that you could complain about. Is like, well, it's a Batman game, but Batman's dead. I didn't want to know that. I mean, I don't know.
Well, technically, it's not a Batman game. It's Gotham Knights. It's for the Knights.
All right, it's in the Batman universe.
It's not Batman Gotham Knights. It's Gotham Knights. I just think they show too much. I don't want to see boss battle. Okay. I
would agree with you.
Still on High on Life. Don't show boss battle. I don't want to see any boss battle. Let that be a surprise. Let me play it.
I would agree with you if it was a late game boss battle or if it was a boss battle that gave away too much of the story.
Didn't show any boss battles in Arkham Knight. Right? We didn't see any boss battles for the first 3 Arkham games.
Right, but I wouldn't be mad if they showed the first boss battle or a snippet of it.
I would, because I want it to be a surprise.
There's at least 10 other boss battles in that game that are equally more epic.
I want all 11 to be surprise. I don't want to show it.
Well, I mean, you could make an argument.
Okay. You know what? Show me a snippet in a trailer. Don't actually show me somebody playing.
Well, I want to see how that. Well, I would rather see how the gameplay is, right? Because that's the whole point. You want to see how it looks. But I mean, I get your point to a degree. I do.
Something that I was also kind of on the fence of, and then I said, you know what, I'm into it. It was where winds meet. It's an open world set in medieval China, right? You're wall running and you're running on water. Apparently, it looks like a supernatural Ghost of Tsushima, right? Because you're wall running and running on water, and God knows other sort of mystical powers you have. But it's a samurai game, and I like samurai games. I do. I mean,
you love Ghost of Tsushima.
I do. It was that game of the year.
It is a great game. I
fought for it.
It is a great game.
I fought for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely down for more of this. As long as it turns out to be a good game at the end of the day, as long as the gameplay is solid. I'm definitely in on this.
So, you know what? If we have a good story, as long as it's not like a Samurai Souls game, I'm down.
Oh yeah, no.
So
you don't want Sekiro. You don't want Sekiro. You want Ghost of Tsushima.
So Opening Night Live took a little bit of a downturn, by the way, and I do want to mention these because it's kind of funny. We know Jeff Keighley and Kojima have this special relationship that no one understands. I still don't understand it.
They have a non-gay love relationship for sure.
He said, "Hey, you know what? Kojima knew I was doing Opening Night Live, and he came. And he wanted to share something. And he said, I'm working on 2 games. I could have sworn he said we're working on 2 separate games. So it was like, okay, so we're going to see something that he's working on.
Nope.
And instead of showing us what he's working on, the 2 games that he's working on, he said that, you know, he has a deal to have a podcast on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he did. And he also said, because, I mean, he's not a native English speaker. His English is very basic at best. They will have a live translation or they'll have it translated like as you're listening to it. So it'll be, we can listen to it because I know like no Japanese. So I'm interested.
I know like 2 words.
Yeah. I am definitely interested.
I have zero interest.
I know. You just you wanted to make a new game. I know.
Just make the new 2 games. Come on. I thought you were going to show the Xbox game that he officially announced at Xbox's E3 showcase.
To be fair, it's only been 3 years since Death Stranding came out on the PlayStation.
Okay, so, well, you know what? That means 2 years of telling us what you've been working on. I don't know.
Yeah.
I still think we're getting a Death Stranding 2. I still think that's being worked on with Silent Hill.
Maybe.
With Well, I don't think he's working on Silent Hill, but I think he's working on Death Stranding 2 and whatever he's working on with Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he could have gave us a snippet, even a snippet of it.
Right? Oh, no. Wait, listen.
I mean, Dune. We got Dune Awakening. We didn't see any gameplay. We have no idea what this game is.
Right. It was a sizzle reel. Yeah.
Yeah. So we could have got the same thing.
I'm 100% with you, but it's Kojima. You know how Kojima is.
Well, that means it's not going to be out anytime soon. That means this is a 2025 game.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a year or 2. Yeah.
And then another thing that was sort of a downer for me Opening Night Live was we got the official Pokemon Mini car. Right? The car, they have a car dedicated to video games and Pokemon themed. Their slogan is play on because they said, hey, if you can connect your phone to your car, what about always having your video games connected to your car? When I saw this live, I was screaming at my TV. I said, no, I don't want my video games connected to my car that I want to buy, the brand new car I want to buy. I don't want my video games connected to it. My phone, yes. Because you need your phone.
There are major safety concerns. I mean, this is what Elon Musk has been wanting to do with his Teslas for a long time, but there's some security and safety issues involved here.
I don't need my car to stop on a dime because it wants to, tell me about this rare Pokemon that's like, in front of me and I need to catch.
Oh God! If that's the functionality to like Pokemon Go, no, I don't know. That's a huge safety red flag concern.
I mean, I don't understand what other way you would connect your video game in your vehicle, right? Like,
well, I was just assuming that you
parked and you can play it.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, it would have to be in a park situation, but it would come up on the screen. You'd use the in-car audio instead of the little speakers on your Switch. I don't know.
They didn't show the inside, but I was just like, is my steering wheel gonna have like a makeshift controller? So every time I'm at a red light, I can pull the game up from pause. Because the game will only work if your foot is on the brake pedal and you can play the game and then it goes green and as soon as you put it on the gas, then the game pauses automatically for you.
It's gonna have a big rosy red cheeked picture of Pikachu in the middle. So when you slam on it, it just goes Pika Pika as opposed to like a regular horn sound.
Okay. All right. So the last thing from Gamescom we're gonna talk about. This was a surprise, and I was super surprised by this because we haven't heard anything about this game since the remastered the original Last of Us, and now we're getting, another remaster of the original Last of Us, and now we're getting a brand new game, and that is Dead Island 2. It does exist, and it's coming out. It has a new developer, and it's actually coming out in February. We have a release date. There you go.
So we were talking about this off camera. I don't remember any of this about a Dead Island 2 because the first one was a train wreck.
Yes.
It was bad, and everyone was like, what is this game? It looks nothing like the trailer. And then they made Dead Island Riptide, which is another game in the series, right? Which is
not 2, it's Dead Island 1.5.
No, it's like Dead Island 1.5. And now there's Dead Island 2 with a trailer that looks super slick.
Dead Island 2, the original Dead Island 2 trailer came in 2014 at Sony's press conference, E3 press conference. Okay?
Yeah.
And I think they were like on the beach. I think they were like on a beach or something, and they were like killing it. It was like, Dead Island 2 in development, and now they have a brand. It's been 8 years since we've seen anything, and now they have a brand new developer, and it's coming out next year. It looked like Saints Row with zombies, with zombie mode, right?
Yeah,
it had that attitude that Saints Row had, right?
Yeah,
like, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, it's legit supposed to be open world, supposed to be tongue in cheek, kind of funny. You can kind of pick up random weapons, probably crafting or whatever, beat up some zombies. Yeah. I'm sorry, Dan, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. This trailer was a bag of lies. Oh
my god, I'm all in. I'm all in.
Because it had the same tone and gravitas as the original Dead Island trailer, and everyone's like, oh my god, this is amazing. What is this game going to be? Right? The original one, if you remember, was like a scene that was played in reverse, and it was like a family that was in a hotel room, and, like everyone was like slaying on the ground, and the dad was like running backwards from the window where the zombie popped out of, and he's trying to save his family and all that. And I'm like, oh my god, this is great. And then this one is like, you see this like black dude, and he's sitting in this palatial mansion, whatever, somewhere in LA, right? He's got this beautiful thing, but it's all like bloodied over and whatever, and he's sitting there like smoking a cigar or whatever it is, like looking all cool, and then he like gets up and goes out into the world, and it looks like a Quentin Tarantino movie. I'm like, nope. Nope.
Didn't you ever want to play a game where you try to turn the TV on and you didn't have batteries, so you got your samurai sword?
At the end, he's like, motherfucker, he's got to get out. Yeah. No.
It was great. And then you wave to your neighbors who are killing zombies too, right?
That is the game I want to play. That is the game we will
There you go, and that's the game you will get February 3rd.
Way too slick. I'm sorry, it's way too slick. It's way too slick. I think they're punching well above their weight. Whoever made the trailer, they know how to put together a very slick trailer, but we'll see. Because I've been burned once, Dan. I've been burned once. Oh.
All right. Well, Dan Buster Studio, they're going to come through.
Okay, I've never heard of these guys. I'm sure they've done some games before, but I don't know.
Well, that's it. That's it for Gamescom. That's all the notable things. There are a lot of indie things, a lot of indie games that announced at Gamescom that hopefully we'll get a chance to get hands on with. Like we get some previews and we can sort of spread it out, like our indie game spotlight as we go on, or maybe it'll be some of these games will be at PAX 2023. Hopefully we get a chance to go back to PAX.
Oh, yeah.
So
be nice to get some hands-on, for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. That is episode 328 in the books, folks. We want to thank you guys for listening to the show, for liking, commenting, and doing all the good stuff that you guys do. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Also, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there at gamingpodcastalliance.com if you're looking for more gaming goodness. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.